out there, played well when it comes to penalties in certain parts of the game. Certain parts we didn't. We had more turnovers they had more turnovers than us, so we made a couple plays, as far as the turnover game. But the biggest problem is we didn't control the line of scrimmage, right? They ran the ball on us, pretty much, and had big explosive plays in the run game, especially when it came to tackling. At the same time, we weren't able to run the ball in which the way we need to. So one of the biggest things is controlling the line of scrimmage. And when you don't do that against a team that, has multiple guys that can run the ball, you're going to have issues. And we had issues tonight making sure, in that problem. Questions?
Donte, how did you feel about the way the quarterback rotation worked out in general for the offense?
I don't feel good anytime when you don't score points. So, when it comes to that, but we had a couple little issues that went on with there that led to that. Credit to them, their defense played really well tonight, but there's some things as a whole that we need to continue to clean up.
What do you mean a couple issues?
Just when it comes to as far as coming out after half, Jackson was gonna go, but he had a little hand issue that they was looking at. So just little things like that kind of messed up the rotation a little bit.
How do you feel the 2 QB rotation sustainable moving forward?
You know what? Like I say, we always say this: we're gonna do what we gotta do to win the football game, right? It's not like neither one of them lit it up tonight to say the other one is clear cut in front of the other. They both made mistakes, just like we all made mistakes.
Donte, it felt like the 2 quarterbacks kind of struggled to get into a rhythm when they came back into the game. Why do you feel like the 2 quarterback system is the right decision for this team?
You know what? Right now, like I say, continue to evaluate everything. So I can't tell you that it's the right decision. I can't tell you it's the wrong decision. We're gonna make sure we play the best guy, and neither one of them has took the full reins to say that that's the guy, right? So we're still trying to look for answers when it comes to that department. We got a lot of guys that are dinged up or hurt. So, we're trying to find the right rotation with the right guys to make sure we play, whether it's an old lineman, whether it's a running back, receiver. So we have a lot of guys that are out and trying to make sure we just have the right people in the game, period.
How do you choose who comes in at certain points in the game? There was a time when Dart let you guys on back-to-back scoring drives, and they didn't come in for the next 3 or 4 drives.
Yeah, well, that was kind of like the mishap that he started having a little bit with his hand. But at the same time, when guys are scoring, like we saw before, like last week with Keaton, I would like to keep guys in when they're scoring, keep the high hand going.
Tahj, how did you feel the defense approached you guys maybe differently than other teams have without Drake on the game?
I just feel like when we get our chances, we gotta capitalize on opportunities that we get, and those guys made some plays, and those guys, they studied pretty good, so they did take.
Donte, what did you see in that 3rd and 13 where Chris was called for the holding? That big drive where they scored a touchdown before.
Well, I don't want to get into what was said, but at the same time, you watch that film, you decide if that was a penalty or not. But at the same time, it was called. They kept the drive going. They ended up scoring on it, and it cost us.
Keontae had 2 really strong games, and then it seemed like they bottled him up today. What in general were they able to do to slow the run game?
For one, he was another guy that was a little dinged up, so that hurt us a lot. We depend on him. He's a big-time player, so this is a big-time game. So just him being a little dinged up kind of got him in and out of the lineup, just dealing with what he was dealing with also.
Injury-wise, is he okay going forward? Is there any concern?
We'll see. It's a lot different when the guy's in a football game, so you have a little bit of adrenaline. Even though you come out, you're able to still kind of go back in. So we'll assess him day to day and see where he's at.
I know you focused on it and tried to fix it, but the tackling remains an issue. What's your conclusion as to why that's still a problem for this team?
You know what? Sometimes the one-on-ones, because when we gang tackled, a lot of guys getting to the ball, it wasn't like just every play was a gash. The problem was, we stopped them for 5 or 6 plays, but then the next play is a gash, right? So, and if you look at it, every time it was a gash, it was a one-on-one tackle, and we didn't make the play, and they did. So it's something that we got to continue to correct, and continue to get as many hats to the ball as possible.
Is that the biggest frustration on that side of the ball right now?
Yeah, it is, because I believe we have really good players, and they're capable of making those plays. At the same time, tonight they didn't, so hats off to Arizona State.
Donte, how do you feel the receivers performed today without Drake London?
You know what? We're very thin, so it's more than just Drake that's kind of out. It's a couple guys. So, it's hard to say and assess without seeing the tape, right? All I know is that, right now, Arizona State, pretty much held our pass game in check for the most part, which usually doesn't happen. But at the same time, 2 receivers for us, 1 caught 9 balls, 1 caught 6, right? So we need some other people to, also step up and help them out, which we'll, get to work on.
Xavion, you had 2 big plays the defense had some other big plays too. How did you feel in general about the way the defense played?
Credit to Arizona State. We just got to make more plays. We were in position. We got to make those plays and go back to practice, clean up the little stuff, tackling, stuff like that, make those one-on-one plays and just see from there.
Donte, you brought up some of the issues that the offense is dealing with. This is another game in the third quarter where you guys haven't been able to score a touchdown. Going back to Colorado now, have you been able to put a finger on anything that can fix this issue? Is it a trend yet?
Yeah, today, the biggest issue was a lot of personnel issues, in my opinion. Like, a lot of guys are out, right? So we having to get used to guys being out of the flow. This is the first real game that, for instance, Drake was out, and you got Keontae dealing with the issue. You have, offensive linemen out. So it's multiple people. Cortland didn't play tonight. So it's a lot of guys that are out. So we're having to make sure we deal with the personnel also as well as dealing with the play calling and the players making plays. It's a combination of all things. That's what, sucks. You look in the first half in the run game, it wasn't like the running back wasn't running hard. It wasn't like people wasn't blocking, but it was always one person on each play that maybe didn't make the correct block. And that led to all of a sudden some plays that didn't bust on force.
Xavion, what do you feel you showed tonight personally, and what was your read on that second pick?
That I can get on the field and help my team win and ball out for my brothers. I'm just trying to do everything I can to help this team win, and that's all. I love playing with those guys.
On the second pick, what'd you see?
I've been watching film. In the slide, they do a little looky route, so once I seen it, I just trusted my instincts, trusted my film, trusted preparation, everything we go over at practice, and made a play on the ball.
Let's do one more.
Donte, when you see him have a game like this, does that earn more playing time for him, or how do you evaluate it?
Yeah, he's a guy who's been, stepping on the field, I believe, since Notre Dame. So the last 3 weeks, it's been more and more playing time. Playing a lot of guys, right now we're rotating and things like that. Like I say, we got quite a few guys out, and he stepped up and made plays. Anytime you have a game, you have 2 interceptions, and, when teams are trying to go at you, that's big time, right? Especially when, that one-on-one coverage in the second one. So we gotta just make sure we capitalize on them turnovers.
Thank you, fellas, for coming in. Appreciate it. You can catch the